So it appears that we've kind of made it. We are here sharing this moment, and I'm going to breeze through this as, fluidly and casually as I can. I'm going to kind of have a hint of effortlessness, an ingredient of effortlessness within doing this. I just compiled it last minute. And I'm aware of how people could be thinking of me within this little moment out of many moments, like, etc. Who does this guy think he is? Well, I'm just one with like the fluidity of life, just as you are. And this is officially online, but on a intergalactic level, we're always kind of online, but that's neither here or there. And I'm just going to breeze through this reading. I particularly did this style format of a reading approximately 2 years ago, 2022 Lake Tahoe. Just an accumulation of inspirations led me to do this particular style format of a reading. I just kind of intuitively divvied it up, originated it as it is, as it was, and now I'm just kind of basing it for a new moon initiation to kind of like build off of how my soul and my mind wants to connect with myself and the collective reality, and me doing the actions and the communications reciprocating symbiotically for the reality I want to participate with, I actually vote for, so yada yada yada, etc etc etc. And like me being a unique person, we all have some type of quote unquote insecurity, end quote, but there's different measures and contexts of that. And I wouldn't say it's an extreme insecurity, but I don't really go live, and I'm not really used to like a bunch of people like jumping on live, but maybe on a different channel they are. And in the future, I'll calibrate and align myself, so I'll be okay with being online based on my different types of like life's readiness. So it's a life's readiness. So I'm going to get straight to the point. I'm going to show you the chart. This particular format I did 2 years ago, and on my Instagram, I called it the Symphony of the Gods. And now I'm going to show you it right now, and leaning towards, the relevant reality of things, because obviously we could all have some type of like, embarrassing moments, and may that, be transformed and compensated. So I'm going to show you this. Hopefully YouTube doesn't, reverse or mirror it, but if it does, it's all good, because I'm still going to explain it. And I'm going to show you the chart, and I'm going to show you the different, and I'm going to explain the different, what the chart means. It's just a unique format of how you could go about things, and why it's in this order. And why I took it upon myself to do this was so I could be in a certain type of equilibrium with what's going on within life and the stars, etc. And how we're all like acting unconsciously to this, to gradually consciously to this. And it's better to act gradually conscious to this, so a certain part of our psyche and our mental field could be exalted in higher octave, so we could alleviate the detrimental different modes of us if they so happen to lean towards that mode. So I'm going to show you the chart right now. I'm going to explain to you what it means. And I'm going to show you the chart right now. So thanks for bearing with me. And in the future, I will go live more so. On the Instagram, I went live, like around 2 to 3 years ago. But I'm not necessarily concerned about the win right now, because I'm in a particular realistic now. The now is subjective, as already been said. And there's stuff that wants to be unpacked. And as things are being unpacked, hopefully, the forgotten thoughts and ideas might resurface, may or may not. It doesn't really matter too much, but it could, depending on if you're a perfectionist or not, something like it. The mundane work here is like, what level of mundane reality sees your level of preparedness and readiness. And the level of preparedness and readiness is asking, the mundane reality is asking, what homework did you do to deposit in this new moon, and to you reflect that out to the bigger picture reality, particularly that, so that bigger picture reality could more or less resonate with you more or less. That's where I'm a bigger picture person. That's the thing that people might not understand. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you giving this for free? Well, I'm just glad to be alive. That's why I'm glad to have the opportunity to do it. So I'm going to show you the chart. And then once I show you the chart, I'm going to, let's see, I'll get this to hold it. Oop. And, you know, being mindful of different perspectives and ideologies and the emotions that come from that. And this is a place of transformation, balanced transformation. And, oh God, ooh, and, you know, don't hurt yourself. So I'm going to show you the chart. I'm going to explain to you what it means. And like I said, I'm going to do this effortlessly. You know, I like it, like when I first did this like 2 years ago, I would write like deep summaries on like all of these different, you know, aspects. But for some reason, I just did small keynotes, and I'm just going to be fluid with all the small keynotes because intuitively the information is there. So now I'm going to show you the chart, and obviously I'm aware of like, you know, the different types of replications. This is going towards higher octave balanced lifestyles within the earth to the solar system, etc. So that's the difference, because I'm like, you know, there's a mindfulness of like how people could just like have this like, you know, cheap replication. But it could, the advancement of AI, could it recognize the differences between the cheap replication and the originals, and could it preserve that particularly? So now I'm going to show you the chart. We 7 minutes in, I'm chilling, you know, and the level of preparedness, I did it. And after I'm done with this reading, I could show you the notes, because the notes are like a handful in themselves, and there's different, you know, components of the notes that add on particularly to this chart reading. And that will be for the open source ClickFunnel, because this could be a ClickFunnel, you know. So within this ClickFunnel, I've already did this format, like, you know, in the past, and it has worked out in my life, you know, somehow accordingly to its small time spans and its more lengthier time spans. There was some type of particular seed that was dropleted or whatever. So within this, I'm going to show you the chart. I'm going to explain the chart. Happy new moon, everybody. May you have the best life ever. And, you know, and I had this color combo you know, last year too. I'm just kind of like showcasing online, but that parentheses that and parentheses that. And then, you know, just, you know, we're all sharing each other's influence. So I'm going to show you the chart right now. And who knows if it's going to be like mirrored. So I'm going to show you the chart, then I'm going to explain the chart, and then I'll probably like I'll probably just paste the chart. I'll probably just put this on the community board if it gets reversed, you know. So I'm going to explain the chart. So I don't know if you could see it. Oh wait, could it just flip around? Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay. So there's the chart. I don't know if it's in mirror mode based on YouTube, but let me explain the chart. And I have my notes in my right hand. So what the chart is doing is I particularly chose this arrangement. And 2 years ago, when I was in Lake Tahoe, I did it from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it was in a different way. And obviously you could you know, quote unquote, tweak it however you like. I just did it in this particular order because I'm mindful of transformation and the transformation of life. We let that go by us, and that's in our unconscious. All of these aspects, they could be in our unconscious, and there's particular things going over our head. And as there's particular things going over our head, that's the that's a particular type of alignment that we let get us by. So I particularly chose this order because I'm mindful of the transformation that is, and also as well, I'm coming from a different quote unquote top down level slash everything's kind of in reverse level, quote unquote, and I'm equalizing that. So I chose 0, and then I chose 11 to 1 because I'm looking at a different order of how, like, the top down influence is just as relevant as the bottom up influence. And like I said, 2 years ago, I did it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And obviously there's different components to it, but this is just what it is right here. One particular type of arrangement of Negentropic HD astrology. And the reason I chose this order because I'm emphasizing the transformation that is really pertinent, that's there. And then, I associate Uranus with some type of Bhagavan type of flavor, the 11 senses, Uranus and Bhagavan. There's a particular type of connection there. Lilith being the 10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then on the right side, the two pillars are on the right, the most right column. Those planets are in that I Ching gate in the human design body graph. And the second column from the right is the opposing gate and how we could possibly balance that gate so we don't have to be loose with the gate that's being active. So there's an active gate, and then there's the opposition gate within in how the planet is affecting that region within the time-space continuum of the constellation itself. And the planet being in the according constellation, the planet being in the according gate, and the opposing gate, so we can balance the aspect within that planet itself. So I'm shuffling through my notes here, so I'm going to breeze through this. And for some reason, the note taking, I just kind of intuitively splurge it, but the note taking, I kind of did it like effortless for some reason. I could have been more summary with it, but I realized, like, if you go on my Instagram, there's just different types of like lengthiness to it. So I chose this particular order because I look at Pluto as, that I look at it as that overall like transformation field, that transformation that's always happening. You could even call it something of a reaper, but you don't have to go that far, Pluto being this beacon of extremes in itself. Extremes of like how there could be like a do or die emphasis within, the underlying subconscious of the planets. Pluto also represents the subconscious. And just in the past podcast, I explained what the subconscious is uniquely within the according timestamp, etc. And, I just have like, there's just a swift keynote for all the planets here that you're seeing on the chart. For this page of notes, I just did one keynote per planet. But like, the other day I wrote something on like how Uranus could be so many different things, but for some reason I just put I put Pluto for transformation. Uranus, 11, new sovereignty. You got Lilith there, the shadow ego, your dark origins. Mars being your ambition and where your ambition leads you to your placement and how you recharge in your place to reculminate your ambition to go for your desires. 8, career Saturn, career structure. 7, remixed truth of dualities to false dualities. And then, and media propaganda narratives culminating from that. Venus, the queendom, hives, mating even. Mercury, network and intelligence. Earth, the evolution and the mutation of your Earth body, human self, and the planet we're living on, the unconscious self. And Jupiter, it's Jupiter is like, geocentric environmental mutation, environmental ritual, priestcraft even ritual. Jupiter is environmental rituals, respectively, because it's the chariot to the gods, more or less. The moon, the storage for your feel good energy and the energy emissions thereof, human impact from collective, energy emissions, the moon being collective energy emissions, and the human impact, the human being impacted by collective energy emissions, and us storing, feel good energy, the moon, the sun, the action plan, and the visual provocation. South Node reflecting on the diplomacy in the garden. And North Node receiving future development in human origins. So these are just the general aspects. And the fixed signs, they point to practices and tasks per the element that needs to be done, like physical routines, routines on the mundane plane that are like recognizing the element individualized in its own respective microparticle. That's what the fixed signs are. Tasks and practices per the individual particles of the micro elements, the fixed signs. So now that I got the first page of notes out of the way, more or less, now I'm gonna share, what the gates mean, and the semi-sextile, one sign apart. It's like, it's kind of like ball hog energy, pass the ball, it's like two different, we're on two opposing sides of the court, we're like nearby, there's a possibility for things could be smoothed out or not, because every aspect, it has a positive outcome or a negative outcome. So I look at the semi-sextiles as like, there's traffic, there's two cars ahead of me in the lane. And if we're three cars on a train, we're three different seats on the train, and within those three different seats, you're seeing two people ahead of you in different seats, but the seats have different themes as opposed to the seats having the same themes. So if they have different seats, it's like, can we make way? Or are we going to be self-centered with just our sign? Are we going to be stubborn and selfish with our gifts? And selfishness is not good or bad. It just is what it is, And then just one like casual footnote on like the Capricorn Aquarius kind of field of energy, acting and transforming the Earth matrix with the air matrix, acting and transforming the programmer for the protocol agency systems. So that was one keynote for, this whole Pluto kind of thing, this whole Capricorn and Aquarius thing. There's this transformation aspect within the old Earth matrix, and the old Earth matrix is connected to a particular type of external effulgence of an air matrix, and both that Earth and air matrix, there's being drastic change being brought. Everything that has been, culminated over time, it's getting heavily reassessed. Pluto is heavily reassessing and seeing the physical and mental transformation, quote unquote, death of, end quote, of the Earth matrix and the air matrix, which is the programmers for the protocol agency systems. That's being particularly transformed. So that's the Pluto aspect right there. And like I said, there's some note pages I'm not going to read because I'm not going to give everything away, I'm going to save some for myself. It's a certain type of balance. So I'm going to run through this real quick within the notes I want to read. So within the notes I want to read, what's going on here is I explained there's also like different, formats you could put this in, obviously. But I put it like this because I'm mindful of the transformation. I'm seeing what's actually like, honoring sovereignty after sovereignty. And then, so I feel like repeating what I just said, but I don't necessarily have to. So like, the aspect between Pluto and Uranus, that is, that's a trine, something of a trine. So within the trines, the elemental combustion combination is to bring forth gifts, talents, and capabilities per the sign of the earth. So within the earth could be changing for the better if we have the intention to use it right and balance with the higher resonance, because the higher octave and the wholeness will always trump the fragmentation thereof most respectively. So there's a grand earth trine eventually, you know. And the grand earth trine I see is you see Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo creating that earth trine, and Mars is there within that grand earth trine. So the earth trine, the grand earth trine, we're having capabilities, gifts, talents, and abilities and miracles within the earth structure of ourselves. Taurus, earth structure of ourself. Virgo, earth structure of change, more or less respectively. And, you know, and working with the change, the routines for the change, Virgo. And Cardinal, seeing, you know, what we're coming from, you know, on just an esoteric earth level. So there's a grand earth trine. And within that grand earth trine, there's an immense transformation and sovereignty within the Taurus field. Within our micro earth selves, there's a chance for sovereignty, Uranus and Taurus. So the trine between Pluto and Uranus, they're giving us a combination to see our sovereign place within the transforming structures of where the earth is coming from. And then Pluto and the sun, that's like a semi-sextile. So it's like, which one, we could be like kind of oscillating out of Pluto and the sun, you know, just on because that's how the semi-sextiles play out. They play out in an oscillation like fashion. We're in one section of an equinox or a solstice, and within that equinox or the solstice, you know, one would like to like be more self-appointed than another. So it's like, which one are you? We have to balance Pluto and the sun, the semi-sextile. So within that semi-sextile, it's like, don't let Pluto and the sun ball hog with each other. Recognize both the action and Pluto for us to have an action plan to align the transformation within the Aquarius theme within itself, which is, you know, just general humanitarian experiments that could have themes of retroness generally. So, and then Uranus and Lilith, that's a trine as well. So Uranus is giving, so the gate 23, there's this sifting apart, you know, things must take their own course. It's a kind of like just the way of the Tao. Things eventually will like come to an end. Things eventually will come to a new beginning, you know, like things sift away. They like something like paper mache, you know. So Uranus is like, he's kind of like, there's like a new experiment for the humans that are following the nature of Earth. And when things are time to like, you know, start anew, or kind of like, you know, kind of just like have a new, you know, ending, then Uranus is kind of highlighting that. So I have like so many different notes, and I know I could be jumping around, but let me bring it to some ground real quick. So as I bring it to some ground real quick, maybe I should show you this page of notes. Okay, so now, yeah, let me take some ground real quick. So Pluto is in the gate 60. How we balance Pluto? Pluto is highlighting the root chakra. And the root chakra is just our container, our containment, natural limitations, more or less. And within that natural limitations, our vehicle is just going along for the ride. How we balance that vehicle going along for the ride. See the second column from the most right. Pluto is in gate 60. The opposition gate is gate 56. How we balance gate 60, a Capricorn Aquarius cusp gate, we balance it with a Cancer Leo cusp gate. So the Cancer Leo cusp, that's some type of steam, respectively. Shout out to D. And within that cardinal steam is highlighting the theme of like gate 56. For us to balance the Pluto shit, gate 56 is like, we are our own traveler, even if we are in family life. But since gate 56 is something of a Cancer cusp theme, it's like we could balance the Pluto aspect by, you know, taking care of our family or taking care of ourselves And if our family, quote unquote, abandoned us, end quote, start your own new family and use Pluto to transform that you could just start your own new family. Maybe you're just by yourself, but whether you're by yourself or you're with your family, how we balance gate 60 with 56, that's a Cancer gate. That's a Cancer Leo cusp gate. So it's like the child is being, kind of coming out of the womb more or less, or like, the brother sister kind of vibe. And from the brother and sister, them fighting, they need to take time away from each other and they need to wander. Gate 56 is the wanderer. So how we balance gate 60 is gate 56, the wanderer. And with the wanderer, we might just need to walk it off, to balance the immense aspects of Pluto, just walk it off. Okay, I see where I'm at. So I'm just, rather than read the aspects of the planets, I'm going to read the gates of the planets before the aspects. Because if I read the aspects, it's kind of like combustion mode. But I rather read the gates before the aspects. So Pluto being so Pluto being highlighting gate 60, root chakra in Capricorn, cusp Aquarius. So Pluto's highlighting the root chakra pretty much. We balance that root chakra, gate 56, within a level of communication. You're receiving some type of communication. You're receiving some type of, effort to like have faith, effort to believe in yourself that you could survive through the transformation and the subconscious of the gods to balance the Pluto. So now I'm going to move to Uranus. I kind of just gave a gist on how Pluto's in the gate 60. Opposition of gate 60 is 56. Uranus is in gate 23, split apart. I kind of already said that. Gate 43. What gate 43 is, it's a Scorpio gate. So since gate 43 is a Scorpio gate, there's a co-ruling energy of Pluto. So we're naturally seeing just like some Pluto shit as is, innocently within the unconscious, just seeing it. It's been brought to our attention. It's been like kind of like more or less, a certain context of exaltation. So to balance the whole, we're receiving sovereign communication, Uranus in gate 23, the throat chakra. The polarity gate of gate 23 is 43, the ajna. So just seeing kind of like they're just seeing like, what Mars and Pluto has to bring forth, and just see like working with, the ambition and working with, your own, kind of like quote unquote traumas, end quote. That's how you balance the Uranus, gate 43. I didn't write the footnote. I wrote the footnote for every gate except gate 43. So you could fill in like, how to balance gate 23 with gate 43. So that was the Uranus aspect. Now I'm on Lilith. Lilith is in gate 1, Virgo. So our dark shadow self is doing its own stuff, not necessarily our unconscious, but like our shadow self. It's the collective shadow self. It's aligning with the G center, and what the G center is on a collective level, that respectively is the collective galactic stargate, respectively, and the collective galactic stargate, respectively. Lilith is there. So like this deep spiritual mother is right at the gates. She's at the gates collectively, but we're deeply unconsciousness. We have a deep, unknowingness, that's a more appropriate word. So the mother is at the gates, and the mother being at particularly gate 1, she's in such a way within the human design mandala where she's at gate 1, pure yang. So we're receiving the pure yang of the mother. Maybe shout out to when Naruto and Sasuke fight Kaguya, when it's like Kaguya's here in Virgo, Kaguya's here, and there's a different page of notes, and how I align it with like, maybe I'll just give a snippet of that, and this clue is kind of going to give a different clue to like a different page of notes I didn't necessarily want to express, but whatever, So let's see where it's at. Oh, I can't even find it. Okay. So there's a certain page of notes. Oh, it's not here. Maybe it's like somewhere over here. Anyways, so Virgo would be it would be the 8th house to Aquarius 1st house, right? So with 8th house, so the dark mother is really like she's really like she's with the collective like she's with like the collective like depths of sexuality, 8th house, you know, and we're seeing our like you know our micro transitional physical self within this deep field of how there's just a collective sexuality theme in neutrality, meaning that on a more external fulging kind of expressive level, Virgo is in 8th house, and within that Virgo being 8th house, we're kind of like we're seeing like our house, the collective house of sexuality. It's being like it's kind of being like there's details, there's like a whole agency, there's like a particular agency of Virgos, kind of like organizing this shit. There's like people just organize how they're gonna organize, but it's highlighted, because like there's agencies that just do nothing but data. There's agencies that do nothing but like logistics, etc. So that those data and logistics, they're aligning with Lilith being in 8th house Virgo. And there's a different page of notes how I align this with the houses pretty much, and that was the page of notes I didn't want to share, but I shared it, so there it is. And for some reason I can't find it here, but whatever. So Lilith is, and so Lilith within this like galactic kaleidoscope, she's in gate 1. So Kaguya from Naruto, she's blasting the shit from the galactic Stargate collective G center to the solar system. So as she's doing that, like like we all get how everybody has a unique individual dark night of the soul. That dark night of the soul, it could be more so natural, but within the naturalness, it could be more like it could be something of an extreme, but we're all at our own level of energetic balance, so it's all subjective, And I can't find that page where the effing houses were. Oh, I found it. Okay, I found the page. So this page of notes is pretty deep. I'm gonna leave that one out, but Capricorn being in 12th house, I'll give you a snippet. 12th house, that's like the substance of the matrix in threshold transition. So since Pluto is in Capricorn, something of a masculine admin cadmin body, 12th house. No. So things and may a different type of tech neutralize distractions. So the 12th house, Capricorn's in the 12th house. Pluto is in Capricorn 12th house. So that's the 12th house. That's like the substance for the matrix. That's like the Pisces low key is the mother. Pisces low key is the mother. So we're in the house of the mother. One of the main sons is in the house of the mother, and his whole thing is being reassessed respectively. So I'm not going to read that log of that notes, because I'm continuing with the gates. So I'm going to continue with the gates. So Lilith is and I'll read one more actually. So Lilith being in gate 1 G center, the opposing gate is gate 2 G center. So there's different themes of the G center, the collective G center being some type of quote unquote threshold metaphysical stargate, most respectively the collective G center. Lilith is in gate 1 and of the G center Virgo, and that's passion and ambition for the dark mother. And the passion and the ambition for the dark mother, we're relating that more practical, more analytical with Virgo. Virgo being 8th house, Lilith being in Virgo, we're being more logically easeful. We're being more easefully logical. We're putting our logical thinking caps on, and we're recognizing the logical force of Lilith being in Virgo, and that logical force of Lilith being in Virgo, Lilith upholding gate 1, she's expressing herself extreme yang, creative force. This is the energy of the mother. This is the dark mother. The dark mother is here, and if I didn't say this, it would be unknown, but now it's known. Now the unconsciousness has a particular type of intelligent light. The intelligent light on the unconscious is being conscious, and now we're recognizing that the dark mother, not good, not bad, is being this is her play. This is her creative energy. How we balance ourselves with the dark mother is gate 2, G center. We chill out. We be receptive. We be let's see. The notes are all over the place. Excuse me. Gate 2. Where's gate 2? So gate 2, I wrote a particular intuitive keynote because obviously, like, we all know how everybody could interpret the gates differently. We know that, quote unquote, experts. But I wrote an intuitive footnote on what gate 2 is, and my notes are just, God dang it. Wow, it's like one's disappearing. Oh, wait, it's right. So it's generating resources. Gate 2 is generating resource, and that was the standard textbook definition of gate 2, generating resources. But gate 2 is also like the notes are kind of all over the place, but not really. Gate 2 is kind of like pretty much like listening to the direction. That's how I'm looking at gate 2. It's like listen to the directions, so you could actually get the proper instructions to actually like get a certain type of alignment. So just like listen to instructions. That's gate 2. That's the opposing gate of gate 1. Gate 2, generate resources. Like listen to the instructions. Listen to the instructions so we can balance the Lilith aspect in gate 1. So now I'm moving on to Mars. Mars is in gate 60, gate 56. Mars is conjuncting Pluto. So Pluto and Mars, they're in the same, house. So if they're in the same house, they could work together to kind of make a concoction to be to have a transformative aspect and an ambitious aspect, to be in something of a 12th house format of seeing how we're coming to the realization ambitiously that we're getting influence from the gods, 12th house. So Mars is also in gate 60. Believe in yourself, gate 56, the opposing gate of gate 60, to balance out gate 60. So, and the aspect between, and I'm kind of moving intuitively as well too, So Lilith and Mars, they're making a trine. And now I'm going to go to Saturn. Saturn, gate 36, solar plexus, character assessment. The warden is assessing your character. The government is assessing your character. The government and the warden, they're seeing if you're going to make it or not. But but ironically, they could that thing could be happening to them too. So it's like it could be like, how we feel about our place within, the government and the family, and how we could feel sour where we landed, and how we feel sour. That's, our character is being developed constantly. Casual mutations happening in our solar plexus, and Saturn kind of like, influencing and kind of like more or less, more or less compressing and kind of like societalizing your character for how you're more or less emotionally adapting to the to the governmental protocol society systems at play and how we balance the Saturn aspect, our characters being assessed into how we can adapt and relate the different types of families. And Saturn's going to he's going to more or less cap you on that. And how we balance that gate 37, that solar plexus, is can we have the willpower to deny what's not for us? Deny you're not for the best interest. You're not necessarily like harmonic family. You know, we need the heart, we need the willpower to see how we could create our own family. We have to create our own, we have to pick up our, you know, courage. We have to pick up our, like, you know, our dignity, even respectively, and we have to make our own family if our family is in some random miscellaneous disalignment or disharmony, generally speaking. So, and this is an intuitive one. I could have went way more deep with the summaries, but this is just really intuitive. So Saturn being in gate 37, so Saturn is like this whole kind of warden discipline, kind of like, this is kind of like where your career of like what you're kind of tailored towards, you know, kind of contributing to, like, you know, just Saturnalian type of stuff. For you to contribute to Saturnalian type of stuff, it's influencing your emotional self / character development. Saturn is in a solar plexus gate. And how we balance that is we must have the willpower, gate 40, to deny all the distractions, what's not in our best favor, and to pick up our courage and to make our own shit, you know? And just seeing how, like, you know, Saturn can be analyzing, like, go with you, like, you know, go with your tribe. This is your tribe. This is your family. Perhaps fix, you know, past shit, you know? So now I'm going to move on to Neptune. Saturn and Neptune conjunct, you know, the pals in, the mainframe of the matrix, connecting to more, you know, watery avenues of a different mainframe of the matrix, that being the depositor Saturn. Or, you know, 12th house being some type of, like, you know, receiver / depositor. Or you could even say 10th house, etc., quote unquote, / quote unquote, / quote unquote. Within that happening, you know, the mainframe of the matrix, it's at home within, you know, how things have a pre-duality, the pre-duality of disinformation and information. The mainframe is receiving the pre-duality of information and disinformation, Neptune and Pisces, the pre-duality of disinformation and information. But Neptune, is in gate 36, solar plexus gate as well. So Neptune and Saturn conjunct. They're influencing our emotional body, solar plexus, emotional body. So we're mutating based on Neptune and Saturnalian influences. So gate 36, Neptune is in gate 36. You know, from crisis to desire is the textbook keynote. So some type of, you know, so within the Pisces, you know, there's some type of just esoteric transition, because Pisces esoteric transition carries the gate 36, crisis to desire. So within the esoteric transition, there's this deep esoteric gift of how there's a gift in the curse. And from the gift, a new desire is born from, you know, some type of, like, transition that is some type of energetic crisis that happened. That's in our emotional body, and our emotional body is more or less attributed to the Pisces constellation from one gate of it. And 2 years ago, I did this reading very similarly on my Instagram. It's called Symphony of the Gods. And yeah, this is, like, also, like, you know, you could more or less incorporate, you know, a new collaborative teamwork process of how the Vedanic influence could more or less, you know, align with this and harmonize with this or not. So how we balance Neptune in gate 36 is gate 6. Gate 6, some type of, energetic stubbornness in, wanting to be in your own container, wanting to be your own, self. And gate 6 is a Virgo gate. So how we balance Neptune is in gate 36. We balance Neptune in gate 36 with a Virgo gate 6. So we balance this whole Neptunian influence that could be extreme dualities within its own respects. We need like some Virgo help, higher octave, constructive Virgo help, and seeing how there's just natural neighborly shit. Within the neighborly shit, gate 6 Virgo, a bunch of different particles in their own blast array within just like how things are moving within the structures of reality. Virgo, mutable earth. Gate 6, solar plexus, a Virgo gate, friction in intimacy is the classic textbook keynote from HD. So we're balancing this whole extreme duality by, meditating on our emotional body and using kind of analytical Virgoan shit to like have emotional hygiene. So the emotional hygiene will balance like, the dualities of the Neptune stuff. So now I'm going to Venus. Venus is in gate 54. So the yearning to make it successful. So we're having love, appreciation, and, Venus also represents drastic change, some type of threshold change, because like Libra constellation, the gates thereof there has to deal with like, something of like a second half of the game, So Virgo respectively rules Libra. So within Libra, the pressure for, to make it successful is the pressure is coming from the different changes from the threshold of the gods, and the threshold of the gods, Libra constellation respectively, where all the signs and all the constellations express themselves differently. I've been doing these readings on different avenues for like kind of a while now, Instagram, offline, and in, writing, and writings are also just as, prominent and pronounceable. So Venus is in gate 54. Venus, we're taking love, appreciation towards our root chakra, towards our, our physical selves, positive selfishness. We want to make it. So if we want to make it, we have to reciprocate with our own level of change within the gods. Venus, Libra, threshold of change. Within the threshold of change, our container, the vehicle, is going along different avenues, different contexts of avenues of different themes of constellations, and our material, unique, individual self. Venus is highlighting our individual self at its physical mundaneness of now. Just you and Venus. You and Venus highlighting some type of pressure to make it. Like you want to move your vehicle to align to actually make it just to some type of promised land. Venus is trying to help you to make it to some type of promised land. And any of these themes could be used in fragment and detriment, obviously. So how we balance that Venus being in gate 54 is gate 53. Gate 53 is the root as well. So focusing on the root within Venus, focusing on your own root self, and just seeing the how more or less all of the themes are kind of aging you, being your own bottle of wine. You are your own bottle of wine, and your metaphysical body is the metaphysical bottle for the metaphysical wine. So within all of that, all of the themes within their, wholeness and harmony, or detriment and fragment, that is some type of quote unquote combustive change, end quote. Some type of quote unquote pressure, end quote, and how you are becoming something of a fine wine. You're becoming, you're maturing. All of your tastes are developing. All the different micro themes of your life are developing. So we're balancing the Venusian aspect of how we could have this inclination and this this feminine desire just to want to make it big, we have to also bring ourselves into logical reality that things take time. But as things take time, we don't know how the themes are getting the best of us, but how the chaos could be kind of more or less balanced or not, how the chaos could more or less express in different gauges of pressure. It's ultimately allowing you to mature, So how you balance the Venus stuff is just kind of like seeing how it's a maturation process, and that maturation process is going towards your physical self, and that physical self is kind of working with Venus. So we have to sometimes there's themes that tell us to take time, to slow down. So simultaneously there's themes that tell us to slow down, and simultaneously there's themes that like give us some type of jacked up energy, quote unquote end quote, respectively. So it's like being mindful of the simultaneity of the different energies, obviously, because all these themes all this rhetoric that people are saying, you're saying it single-handedly, and you're not seeing the bigger picture of it, most respectively. So now I'm moving on to, and obviously this could be some type of ClickFunnel. Now I'm moving on to Mercury, and I chose this order because I'm like transformation, new sovereignty, Lilith, the unknown shadow ego, Mars, the ambition, the just the surface level, kind of theme of energy. We're all feeling this Mars stuff, but it's better to have the transformation, the sovereignty, and like the dark mother there before we kind of like go into this field of just Mars. Because at first hand, when we wake up, we more or less could just feel Mars energy, but why not be with Pluto, Uranus, and Lilith before Mars? So there's Mars there, and then after Mars, now we could put the bottom four into Saturn, and after that Saturn, now we could transform the whole fucking the Neptune being the quote unquote emphasis, the disclosure fest, extravaganza, end quote, and how that takes infinite different expressions. After the Neptune, we could actually in a bigger picture balance this and preserve long term the feel good energy without the hype or the rhetoric or the short term of it, the real fucking shit. And I did another underground last night. After the Mercury, we could see, okay, after the Venus, we could get more information on how all of this shit is working within, the Virgo and the Gemini kind of logistic front of the matrix itself. Mercury being kind of like, the whole technological, logistical crunch front of like how communication is kind of like more or less passed and transferred over the matrix. Mercury, Virgo, and Gemini. After Venus is Mercury. After we feel good, now we could go to Mercury and understand, wow, this is how the trick of the trades and the trades of the tricks are actually being transformed, transferred, and transitioned. And after and seeing how that has its own, practical, evolution, Mercury being in Virgo, and that practical evolution being communicated in so many different ways. Gemini. After Mercury, we could actually heal our Earth body, the collective Earth itself, and our collective Earth body, on how the collective Earth body is highlighting inner children, Earth in Leo, and inner, young character development, Earth in Leo. After the Earth, we could actually have some type of healthy expansion. After Earth is Jupiter, within, how shit is changing environmentally before the dualities, Jupiter before the dualities, the environment combustion before the dualities, and the geochemical warfare is not being not good, not bad. It's just a product of duality. And that product of duality, people are just landing in that level of duality, and they're just doing what they're doing. Because Jupiter is the environmental experiments before the duality. After we expand, then we could fucking know how to feel. Then we could fucking know how to fucking actually not leak energy on the logical format, on the air aspect. But obviously I'm going to need the fire aspects, water and earth I'm going to need their, assistance and support, how the individual doesn't have to leak energy, and possibly the macro doesn't have to leak energy, but that's a work in progress. After we know how we feel, then we could actually take action to what we're seeing. The sun is also like a signature for first house, how it could exalt things, how we could personalize our action plans and how our action plans can be generally personalized. This already being a thing before all the rhetoric. After we know the action plans, then we can see the south node effects and the north node effects, and the south node and the north node, the south node being something of an aspect of, let me see. And I've done this a lot, you know, some like, but that's not here or there, you know. So the south node, let's see, where's that freaking note? Jeez, it's like, it's in front of your face, knocker. Let's see, okay. Oh, here it is. Reflecting on diplomacy in the garden, I already said it. So now we're on Mercury. Excuse me if I'm going fast, but it just is what it is, you know. I'm leaning towards the air, but by some grace of, you know, the balanced gods, there is grounding, and may your tribe emphasize your strong suit. Thank you very much. So now we're on Mercury. Mercury is in gate 54. Oh, geez. Oh, wait. Oh, Mercury's in gate 41. Okay, I see where I'm at. So Venus and Mercury, they're also making a semi-sextile. Neptune and Venus, they made a sextile. So with the sextiles, I feel like it's like it's picking your yin or yang of like how you want to move within the motherboard, you know. That's what the sextile means to me. It's like something of a motherboard, like, you know, all the odd numbers, all the even numbers. The sextiles highlight either one or the other. And if it's one or the other, that's on some motherboard shit. So what the sextile means to me is like, you know, how we're more or less having a portion of the motherboard. And within that portion of the motherboard, there's a significant puzzle piece that we could connect, that connect to our houses. And the yin houses, 12, 10, etc., we respond to yin and we get influenced by yang. So the paradox of reverse is the yin houses are actually more yang and the yang houses are actually more yin, because we're receiving the influence of the yang and we're responding to the yin. So Neptune and Venus are sextile. So Neptune and Venus being sextile is that's 10th and 12th house respectively. So we're following up on 10th and 12th house. We're following up on the mother. We're following up on career development shit. Neptune being in Pisces, that's the second house on the external admin body. Oh wait, so yeah, I thought Neptune was in the 10th house, but Neptune is in the second house in one context. So Neptune is in something of a second house theme, second house and 12th house. So 12th house, we're following up on, you know, motherly shit. 12th house, second house, we're following up on, you know, mundane daily tasks of media shit and propaganda shit heavily. We're following up on this media crunch shit. We're following up on the Daily Bugle. We're following up on how the fuck did Peter Parker, Spider-Man look on this building? At what yoga position was Peter Parker doing on this fucking, you know, building in New York? That's the sextile. So Neptune and Venus are sextiling. We're communicating, you know, this motherly shit within media shit. And we're kind of using Neptune and Venus to kind of like, you know, more or less make it in that avenue of Capricorn being in something of a 12th house. We're trying to make it into the avenue, Venus and Capricorn respectively. We're trying to make it into the avenue of how the 12th house, we our motherly affiliations are being kind of like Capricornian like us expressed. And we could have like, you know, career development in, you know, kind of like even hospitality, you know. Capricorn and 12th house respectively. Let's move on to Mercury. Because I have like so many different pages of notes, and I did this effortlessly somehow. So let me check the battery, and it's all good. It's all whatevs. So now we're moving on to Mercury. If I didn't go to that thing aspect, Mercury and Earth opposition, face off, healthy competition, question mark, or is it some type of detrimental competition? You know, unconscious self versus communication self. What are we going to be pulled towards? Unconscious shit, you know, us being like, you know, lost within our inner child and we don't know it, or the inner child kind of seeing eye to eye with, you know, something of like Mercury, the inner child seeing, you know, the inner child going along for the ride for the informational logistics shit. The inner child, Mercury oppose Earth, the inner child going along with the parents, and the parents are making money off this like trade algo type of shit. And that trade algo type of shit more or less unconsciously relates to the divine mother respectively. Mercury relates to the divine feminine too as well respectively. So Mercury oppose the Earth. Are we gonna like take care of our inner child? Are we gonna take care of, you know, the development of Earth's mutation? And are we gonna like see eye to eye and not have detrimental competition with choosing just information, choosing your career? Don't choose your career over your family and children. Mercury / Earth opposition. So Mercury is also in gate 41. Mercury is also highlighting the root gate. So we're having the intel for our material self yet again. Decrease. Sometimes the challenge has a unique theme. You know, being a minimalist. Gate 41, minimalist. You know, kind of just being a certain type of limitation. So sometimes we have to work with what we have. Accept the information and the challenge that you have to work with what you have. And Mercury will be happy with you. And Mercury is on that gate, and how we balance that more so, Mercury being gate 41 in the root center, we balance us more or less accepting working with what we have by being happy with our throat chakra and the information that we're receiving. Let's see. So the opposition gate of gate 41 is gate 31, throat chakra, you know, information chakra, communication chakra, collective behavior. What are the collective standards in honoring, accepting where you're at, honoring, accepting your challenge? The collective standards in the collective communication center could lean towards some type of fair diplomacy, because Mercury is in gate 41, Aquarius. Gate 31 is a Leo gate. So collective behavior. So Leos could be diplomatic as well. Leos could be kind of like Capricornian and Libran-like as well. You know, all the signs are like a little bit of each other's signs, but they're also definitive within their own signs because there's undeniable similarities within that. So gate 31, that's a Leo gate, and the Leo gate is expressive. It's going to say what it's going to say. And gate 31, a Leo gate, is kind of pointing towards like, look at the shit show. Look at the collective behavior. And I'm first house Leo, so I kind of like relate and I invest into, and I'm just like kind of like practical with you know, self-vested first house Leo type shit. So Leo is in gate 31, a throat chakra gate. So how we balance Mercury's in Aquarius, communicating this whole Aquarian type of like, you know, quote unquote radical change, end quote, you know, Saturn, masculine Saturn in Aquarius, it's kind of like a steamboat being deployed into the ocean. And that steamboat, it's making pressure ripple effects. The steamboat is on the ocean. Aquarius season is the steamboat. So now I'm jumping to the sun and the moon. The sun in Aquarius, that's Saturn being the steamboat, taking a new voyage, taking a new adventure. We have the communication for that shit. We have the logistics. The boat is taking off. The boat is taking off. Aquarius season, it's the steamboat, it's the new steamboat of just whatever the fuck the Adam and Cadman bodies are. And the underground podcast was fire last night. We're having we're knowing our Gemini and our Virgo within the Aquarius. We're more or less knowing our we we only have to worry about our level of ourselves and our own change, and we more or less could be a chismosa if we want. Gemini, it could have themes of like, kind of being like kind of more or less gossipy, but not bad, not good, you know. So the word could be out within like just the general Aquarius, and it's not just me. It's this. I'm talking about. I'm putting it in the frameworks of like, where the physical structures are at within alignment to the Aquarius alignments and the different types of Aquarius alignments. And within those different types of Aquarius alignments, that's masculine Saturn, the boat, is being put on a new voyage, on a new frontier. The ocean is having ripple effects. So the ripple effects are being like kind of like impacted. Like the boat is kind of being dropped on the ocean, and within that boat, that's fixed air. Aquarius is paradoxically whatever the environment that's holding the ocean and the boat, that is the water bearer. That is quote unquote secret Uranus, end quote, respectively. So I'm at Mercury, gate 41, gate 31. So Mercury is like we're having the intel and the communication, and hopefully not the detrimental gossip of just the standard general Aquarian logistics without any of the falsehood, inaccuracies, or detrimental rhetoric thereof. This is we're leaning towards balanced exaltation of this shit, of these themes and aspects. So there's a conjunction. So we're having communication, we're having new action plans and visualization, and we're having self, personal investing within our place within the Aquarian field. And we more or less, the new moon, we're starting to collect our new feelings on how we're impacted by this shit. The new moon is we're receiving new impacts. The new moon is new impacts. So we're receiving new impacts of this shit. And we have the necessary communication and information to go forward ever more so, ever more productively, ever more constructively, ever more, increasability, decreasability simultaneously, like, and a new, like, kind of like patternability. So pretty much, so that's the aspect for gate 41 and 31. So how we balance Mercury is gate 31. And on my Instagram, I've done probably like, a handful of these. I'm like 10 to 15, And then, there was a couple Facebook Lives. I'm not going to emphasize the Facebook Lives because I probably did only like 3 or 5. But those were more or less still quality based. Now I'm moving on to the Earth, unconscious Earth self, unconscious inner child work, unconscious I want to be the star, unconscious, oh shit, there's all these other stages. Everyone's going to do what they're going to do. But we kind of want to brush under the carpet that there is diplomacy. That's the thing that we want to be cognitive dissonant to. Earth and Leo, we want to brush under the rug that there could be like structure and fairness, because the Earth represents unconsciousness. The Earth is in gate 4, Ajna, seeing this shit, seeing unconsciously, just kind of being femininely impacted by the different feminine tribes of beings. They're gonna, all the feminine agencies, they got their shit sewed up. They're gonna do the feminine cliques. That you can't underestimate the feminine energies. They're like preparing for their future formula shit, and and that's being risen to our vision, So how we balance the Earth, what's being risen to our vision is unconscious shit, coming to the vision, youth development coming to the vision. Earth in Leo, gate 4, Ajna. Gate 4 being an Ajna gate, the youth development, it's coming to a visual forefront within this Saturn, quote unquote, Saturnalian Aquarius, end quote, ship on the new ocean. So we're seeing the future formulas, how we could help the youth out, how we balance that, how we balance the Earth aspects. Gate 4 is gate 49. Our emotional self has to reject what's not for us. That's not for us, so we can get to the future formula. Reject. Sometimes we can't always be yes. So And Aquarius, that's a gate 9 is an Aquarius gate. So the Aquarius, we're going to be kind of rigid with our place on the boat. You know, this is my control operating system on the boat. Gate 49 Aquarius. That's okay. Are we following diplomatic, chains of command or not? And it is, I'm just flowing with it. I know how someone could look at me, think of me. I know that shit. But anyways, I like, you know, like, why does it have to be like, why does it have to be this way, etc. Because these are deeper galactic mechanics, and we're just the effect of a deep panning out traversion of galactic mechanics and how it's been micro compressed into planetary mechanics, and we are the result of what we were based on previous spiritual selves. Because it's like someone could ask, well, why you? Like, as if I haven't heard that before. Well, I just explained I just explained that aspect in the pre-aforementioned statement. So balancing out the unconsciousness is just, okay, Aquarius shit. We're taking action, and we're recognizing the mutation, Virgo, Mercury in Aquarius, mutation in Aquarius, Mercury being some type of mental to physical mutation respectively. To balance out, gate 4 is gate 49. So we need some type of Aquarius aspect in a high octave balanced approach to say no for what's not for us, so we could preserve the planetary inner child, the collective inner child, the collective mother inner child spirit, Leo, the collective mother inner child spirit, Earth and Leo, collective mother child inner spirit. We have to say no to protect the collective mother's inner child so she could support us. Now I'm going to move on to Earth and Jupiter square, Jupiter and Moon square. And these squares are fixed squares. So squares, naturally, they're making some type of unique, space-time-like friction, respectively. Within the square, something's yearning to be built within the forefront of the surface level mundanity of the fixed signs. So within some type of square happening, some type of mundane format is there's tension in a mundane format for something to be built upon. Squares, something to be built upon. Tension and friction energetically to build something, to like align and format something new. So Earth and Jupiter square, Jupiter and Moon square. So Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and I'm sure so the Scorpios, they could complete on a synastry-like level, they could complete this square of all the fixed signs. They could be like more or less, maybe like more or less the Scorpio aspects. They could feel more, some type of more energy, more or less quote unquote tension, end quote, to bring something new to the format within the fixed formality modality format of just reality, fixed signs, surface level mundanality, fixed signs of object creation objects. So because there's a square here, Jupiter, Earth, Moon, Sun square. So within that square, we're taking action to build something of, the surface level logistics of objects. That's particularly being enhanced, and that's being processed with energetic quote unquote tensions, end quote. But tensions don't necessarily have to be good or bad, but that's just like what's coming to birth. So there's a birthing process. Squares could be something of a birthing process, growing pains even, So Earth and Jupiter square, Leo and Taurus square. So we're formatting our inner child with seeing what needs to be done, seeing the expansion of how things are being done. And within that expansion, that expansion is coming to like have tension within our inner child, Earth and Leo, and within our place in humanity, Sun and Moon in Aquarius. So now let me go to Jupiter real quick. So Jupiter, Jupy-Poo. Where's Jupy-Poo? Jupy-Poo is gate 24. Where's gate 24 on me notes? Gate 24. Jupy-Poo. So Jupy-Poo is in the Taurus gate. The Taurus gate is something of a fourth house dynamic. You know, Aquarius, quote unquote, first house, fourth house, Taurus daytime Venus. You know, Aquarius being something of like, you know, the desert toad or the chameleon in the desert, right? Fourth house, daytime Venus. So nighttime Venus. So their nighttime Venus is in something of an external fourth house dynamic. The external fourth house dynamic is nighttime Venus. So it's some retro shit, quote unquote, even goth shit, end quote. Just different kind of like tribal themes of differentiation, you know, crystalline type of like, you know, prolific type of like, you know, multicolorous, splendorous innovation of within the genome, genetic code within self. And we're expanding our genetic lineage. Taurus, fourth house in the external pursuit. And Taurus being the fourth house of Aquarius, first house. It's like Aquarius is like something of like this desert toad or desert chameleon in the desert in one out of the four seasonal themes. And we're expanding that genetic lineage of, you know, this retro shit, this retro kind of Aquarius type of like, you know, this kind of abstract kind of like genetic code is being kind of like intercorrelated and percolated with Jupiter's environmental changes. And I equate Jupiter to environmental change, philosophy, and ritual and expansion. And that genetic code is being kind of like, that is like unique individual and specimens homes within that. So now let's see, where am I going at now? Did I do Jupiter? So Jupiter is gate 24. How we balance Jupiter is the spleen. Respectively, I equate spleen to the dark mother as well again. You know, how we survive. So there's different types of dark mothers too. It's not just one dark, there's more than one dark mother, and these dark mothers are powerful, but they're not good, they're not bad. So how we balance Jupiter in gate 24 is gate 44, the spleen, you know, within the landscape of the mother, you know, within her nursery home, she's not necessarily going to monitor all the kids, but maybe she might. But when she more or less does, she's going to watch those kids do what they do. And those kids are going to like do a bunch of different fucking shit, dude. And how those kids do all their different shit, they're in the quote unquote standard neutral games of the Hunger Games, you know? So recognizing the natural Hunger Games, gate 44 spleen, you know, there's just, you know, just recognizing all the different players in the game. Gate 40 is how we balance our Jupiterian aspect. In the keynote is creative thinking. We're seeing the land of the gods, Jupiter, and how it's stored in a niche way beyond, you know, reality. And we're seeing from the dissension of the land of the gods, there's a bunch of different, you know, changes that are happening. And those changes could be drastic, and we have to survive through those changes. But being aware through those changes, we could balance Jupiter in gate 24 in the ajna. Then we could balance what we would like to see by knowing what gate 44 is, the opposition gate of gate 24, and Jupiter aspecting gate 24. And gate 44 being a Scorpio gate, gate 44 being a spleen gate, gate 44 being seeing, general manipulation, and more or less maybe seeing its track record with today's innovation, maybe or not. So now I'm going to the moon and the sun. So now I'm going to go to the moon and the sun. So let's see, the moon and the sun. So Jupiter and the moon, that's a square, there's like a first and fourth house dynamic. What's the tension that's being made is like first house more or less being something of like human origins, fourth house being, something of like, esoterically, the fourth house could be looked at as some type of new father. Esoterically, the 10th house could be looked at as some type of new mother on a deep esoteric level. So the fourth house, the new father with the human origins. New father with human origins on a fixed outlet. We're processing those details just within general, lives of families. So we're more or less seeing our daily ritual, how we could have action plans with the collective field, and how we could have a new refreshing start with that. That's the quote unquote square tension, end quote, that's happening. So now we're going to the moon. How should we feel after all of this stuff? How are we going to feel after all this stuff? So the moon is in gate 49 and the sun is in gate 49 and the opposition gate is gate 4. Yet again. The earth, I kind of more or less covered this within the earth being gate 4 and the opposition gate being 49. So now we're doing the sun and the moon. Gate 49. Having the action plan just to generally see what is your place. This is my sovereign space, quote unquote, end quote, respectively. And I'm going to feel okay. And I'm going to transform the icky feelings. I'm going to hopefully transform the undignity. Gate 49, solar plexus, rejection. So we have a chance to transform icky feelings by saying no. And taking action towards that, So now, and then the sun, moon, Mercury, they're all conjunct. So we have the information, Mercury conjuncting moon and sun. We have the collective information is here for us. Like on a different tip, it's like there's no more excuses kind of, but like, the fates, they will play how they will play though. And let's finish it up, I guess. Now we're going to South Node and North Node. Healthy competition, face off, opposition. Let's do the healthy competition, South Node and North Node, by seeing, let's see, come on, let's see. And there's one page of notes I left off purposely, and it's a big key as well. So let's see. Oh my gosh. So ow, my legs. So let's see. And how we the sun and the moon being in gate 49. How we balance the sun and the moon is by just gate 4 ajna. Working towards what we'd like to see. Formulating within some type of inner youth development. Okay, I know what page of notes to look for. South Node and North Node. The infamous, conclusion of Aries and Libra. Whatever. So North Node, receiving future development in human origins respectively. How we balance I feel like North Node and South Node, they're like synonymous, but we we could like individualize them naturally too, though. And we tend to individualize them naturally. So after the sun, after this action plan, then we could go to the south node and the north node. And then once the south node and north node, once those themes resurface up, south node stuff resurfacing up, south node in Libra, what's resurfacing up is reflecting on the more or less lack of or not lack of diplomacy that has been happening within the stage of change and the stage of just Venus, daytime Venus, like, general miners, harvesters of all different flavors, Venus, Libra, general miners and harvesters of different flavors, reflecting on the diplomacy of the different miners and harvesters of different flavors and how we related to all these different people throughout our lives, and how that more or less could be coming up, and that going towards North Node in Aries, receiving future development in human origins. So these gates, they balance each other out, and they don't have to be in unhealthy opposition. They don't have to be in disopposition. So gate 57 and 51, South Node is in gate 57, spleen. It's like, take it easy. Like South Node. The South Node could be telling us, like, chill, take it easy. What matters to you doesn't matter to someone else, and what matters to someone else could or could not matter to you. But at the end of the day, like, in one context, it's understood that, quote unquote, no one really gives a fuck, end quote. But that's just a context thing. And that's like, that theme is like, was probably like, existing 6,000 years ago. So it's nothing new under the quote unquote sun. So gate 57, South Node, spleen, surviving through just general life. The spleen within its ups and downs. You've reached more or less your quota on what it takes to survive. Now you could take it easy. You've reached your quota on what it means to survive through all the different relations that you've had within how people take care of their own lives. South Node in Libra, gate 57. How you balance the South Node in Libra, gate 57, is gate 51, Aries, North Node. And the readiness for life. Be like, will yourself to be ready and accept your human origins. Will yourself to be ready. Disclosure could happen in any avenue, any crevice, any angle. Okay, but take it easy and be prepared to culminate and focus on your own willpower, on your own self, on your own awareness of, on what Aries could mean to you, on how we could just rise to the top to, like, be a sovereign prophet, quote unquote, end quote, So that pretty much wraps the chart up, because I went from bottom to top. And maybe might have been some aspects I missed. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah. So I wrote down the chakras, thank God. So South Node and North Node. South Node is in a spleen gate. So the South Node, they could resurface themes on, let's remember how to take care of ourselves within the relationship dynamics of change. North Node, what we're going to. We have the willpower to be ready, more or less. North Node, just the head of the dragon, just taking us. Willpower, be ready. Unconscious to unconscious. Willpower, be ready. The one context, and there's this underground podcast I did that explains particularly in detail the more different types of admin cadmin bodies. So that's underground. So it's like the North Node, the head of the dragon, it's taking us to develop our willpower. So that pretty much concludes most of it. Let me see. Keynote. Okay. Willpower. Yeah, so readiness, heart, willpower, North Node. The movements of the solar system, and how it like transforms with like all the different, you know, infrastructures and different infrastructures more or less moving and being stationary while moving and being stationary in something else. The head of the dragon is helping us develop our willpower. But obviously, like, there's extremes within all of this. Pluto, you know, starting with the Pluto, recognizing the extremes. You know, disclaimers are here generally. And everything I've said was like, you know, kind of like, it's just a general thing, you know, that song I shared, blah, 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 general shit, you know? So, Moon, Sun conjunct, Sun and South Node trine, Sun and South Node trine. So yeah, having the gifts, the talents, and the abilities to be with the galactic mind of change. Action towards the galactic mind change. And I've done so much underground shit, but who cares? Quote unquote, who cares? Unquote. And then, yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. So I read most of the notes here. One of the note pages I didn't read was a different piece of the board. And those who want to work with me, even though this is paradoxically complete in and of itself, it's also the paradox. It's something of a fragment as well, you know. There's always more that to be added on. But all things will come in due time per the level of necessity / readiness that you've achieved, you know. So it's like, even though this is complete in itself, it's also paradoxically like still formulating and developing towards a different type of wholeness that hopefully supports your best wholeness. May you have the best life ever.